welcome to another session from Abingdon Museum Crafting Crew. We hope you've been enjoying these sessions and sharing some of our ideas with you on how to be creative at home. We plan on doing more of these sessions throughout the summer, every 2 weeks, like we've been doing. So please do check out the Abingdon Museum website for more details about times and dates and different themes. And you can also follow us on the museum Facebook page, Twitter feed, and on YouTube. So please do check us out. So today's session is called MINIBEAST Safari. And we've been inspired by all the tiny creatures that are flying and crawling and creeping around our gardens and parks and outdoor spaces at this time of year. And we wondered if you would like to be inspired to create a MINIBEAST Safari guide. So you could choose a favourite MINIBEAST of yours, the one that you really like or you want to find more out about. You could find out perhaps 3 facts about it, and then 1 surprising fact, and maybe include something about whether it's an endangered species or how important it is for our environment and our ecosystems. And if you would like to create some of those, that would be great, and you could send in photos of them and we'll put them on our website. So we hope you'll join in with that too. So our first idea are these beautiful origami butterflies. I'm not an expert on origami, so I've been learning from Judy and Margaret, and I'll show you later on how you can make one of these just from 1 piece of paper. And what you can do is you can put these together to create these lovely butterfly mobiles like this one, so you can add beads and stickers and jewels on them to hang them in your room or in your kitchen. Or you could string them this way, like this, and hang them in the garden. And I think they make a nice alternative to the ordinary bunting, so you could do butterfly bunting instead. They look really lovely in the garden. So I'm going to show you now how you can fold your own origami butterfly. Okay, to make an origami butterfly, you first of all need a piece of paper, which is 15 centimetres square. So this one is 15 by 15. These are actually origami squares that have special kind of thin paper, but you don't need to worry if you haven't got that. You can just use any paper that you've got. Plain as well is absolutely fine, or wrapping paper, just as long as it's around about that size. Of course, if you wanted to make them much bigger, once you've got the hang of it, you could do that, or smaller, although smaller of course gets more fiddly. So I'm not an expert in origami. I've learned this from Margaret and Judy, so I'm going to try my best. But one of the main top tips they say with origami is to make sure that your folds are nice and sharp. So how we begin? So we first of all put our piece of paper with the pattern, if you've got one that's plain on one side and pattern on the other, with a pattern down. And you first of all do diagonal folds. You're taking corner to corner and then folding along that line, scoring it down with your finger. And then if you fold it over and fold again, like that, you'll know that that's nicely folded and scored. And then you do that again to the other corner. Fold it over, press it down with your finger, and then back on itself. Okay, like that. Then the next stage is you open it up so that the pattern is on the upside, and then you do just the same, but instead of corner to corner, you take it long end to long end. So making it into a rectangle this time. So fold it over, open it out, and fold again. And then on the other side. Okay, so you should then have 1, 2, 3, 4 folds on it. And then what I do is then fold it, refold it along the triangle lines, just gently, because the next bit is a fiddly bit. So then what you have to do is you have to fold this kind of in on itself here, so that these two bits go in and these two bits come out. That makes sense? So that you've got a triangle shape like that. So I'll show you that again. So you've got your piece of paper like that, and you folded it along the two triangle folds so that they're more prominent, and then you fold those together so that the square folds go inwards and the triangle ones come out, and you end up with a triangle. Yay! That's the bit that is a bit fiddly, so you might have to play around with that bit. Then if you have the point facing towards yourself, then you take one of the corners, so you'll have two kind of corners here, so you take one of them, and this is again where you've got to be super careful, so you'll see where the middle is here when you're doing it yourself, and you fold that down about halfway, and that's going to kind of create the wing of your butterfly, and then you do the same about the other side so that they match like that. Then you roll this bit back around, and it does help if you fold that little tip over there and you roll it back around on itself and over the top. If you just put your fingers here, it creates a little tube shape, and that goes over the top. Ta-da! Like that. I'll show you that again. So you've folded those two down so that they're facing towards you, and then this is the tip that's facing towards me as well. Do a little fold on that, and then you bend that around and over the top where the open part is, and that creates your basic butterfly shape. And then what you can do is, it should just hold, but I think you have to have been doing origami for a lot longer than I have for that to work. So I just put a dab of glue on there, and that just holds it in place. So let's try that again. So I just put a dab of glue there, fold it over, and that just holds that in place. There we go. And there's your butterfly. And then if you want to, you can smooth or curve the edges around to create a more curvy kind of butterfly. And then you can stick beads and stickers on. So I got this one. I'm going to put a sticker on there just to hold that down. There we go. And if you want to, you can flatten it out. So if you don't like the kind of 3D effect, you can flatten it down. And because you've got this hole in the back, that's where you can slide any string or ribbon to create your beautiful butterfly garland like this one. So have a try at those, and don't give up if it doesn't work the first time. So if you have a real interest in butterflies and moths in the UK, you can join in something called the Big Butterfly Count, which is run by Butterfly Conservation. And I'm just going to read this from their website. So it's the Big Butterfly Count, and it's a UK-wide survey aimed at helping us to assess the health of our environment by counting the types of butterflies and Sunday flying moths that we see. And it runs from Friday the 17th of July to Sunday the 8th of August. So if that's something that you're interested in, do check out the website. Another idea we've got to share with you is MINIBEAST Pebble Art, or Pebble Art. So what you can do is go, when you're out on your walks, when you're out and about, look for really nice shaped pebbles that are nice size that then you can create into a mini beast. So this one's got a beautiful bee painted on it there, and this one is a lovely ladybird, and then there's another one here, a lovely flower with a butterfly on. Another one's not strictly mini beast but still very beautiful owl and a fish. And then a lovely scene here in the grass with spiders and butterflies. You can use various things to do these. Acrylic paints work really well if you want to keep them outside, but of course you need to be very careful with young children with acrylic paint. They can get very messy and they can be toxic. So if you're using ordinary paints that are alright with children, you could varnish them or put a coat of PVA glue over them to preserve them a little bit if they're out in the garden. Although one of the things that we found works best is those permanent Sharpie pens. So that's what we use for these ones and these ones. Or in fact, ordinary felt pens work really, really well. And then maybe if you put them in a sheltered place in your garden, the colours wouldn't run. So yeah, that's another idea that you could do just using pebbles and paints and pens. And the last idea we've got to share with you are these really cute snail pictures. So this one's my Dotty snail, and this one, if you've got them, you can use buttons to create the snail here, my button snail. Snails we see around our gardens. Apart from the common brown snail that you'll see the most, there are in fact over 100 species of snails, so you can try and see if you can spot which ones are in your garden. I'm going to show you now how you can create your own cute spirally inspired snail. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make those cute spiral inspired snails. Now if you've got really young children, actually learning to draw spirals is just really a fun thing to do. So you can just show them how you can create spirals, how they get bigger and bigger and bigger. Tiny spiral. And then you can show them as well how you can come back on yourself like a figure of 8. So you can create a spiral and then go back the other way. And before you know it, you've created some lovely artwork. And the nice thing about them is it doesn't matter if they're not perfect. And you'll notice once you begin to look for spirals, there are spirals all over the place in nature. So not just in snails and snail shells, and lots of plants too, and flowers. If you look at some roses and some intricate parts of flowers, and lots of them have got spirals in them. So we do little tiny spirals to fill up spaces. There we go, and you can just keep going and going and going like that to create a lovely spiral picture. So that's just one idea if you've got younger children. Now to create your spiral snail, so a button snail like this one, or a dotty snail like this one, all you're going to need is some pens, piece of paper, something to make your dots from. So I've got a shiny card here, or you could use anything that you've got. And if you have got them, buttons make a really nice snail as well. And then some glue to stick them on. So first of all, choose your colour that you're going to do for your snail. Where I start in the middle, create my spiral, and then come back just with the tail at the end. So if I show you, round, like that, and then stop about there, and then just come back on myself with a little wave like that.
for the tail part. And that's all you need for the shell. And then we're going to create the body using the spots and the buttons. So for the spots, you can just cut out bits of card and put those along for the spots. If you like having a go with some paint, you can use paints like this one for finger paints. So you just choose one colour, your dots, and I'm going to do alternate colours. So red first of all, leaving a space for the other spots in between. Going smaller into the middle, and just give my hand a wipe. I can change colour to blue, and then I'm going to fill in the gaps with the blue. You could also use this idea with dots on fingers to create butterflies or ladybirds with spots, moths, maybe even a slug or a beetle. So you can experiment with the idea. So there we go, that's all we do for a snail shell. Then for the body, I've cut out these circles that I'm going to stick on. That's good for younger children to think about repeating patterns as well. So I'm going to go blue first, then green, and then just keep going like that all the way along for my snail's body. Now you can put these as close together as you like. So green one. So if you want to put them closer so they touch, you can. Up to you. Green one. And then a blue one. Nearly there. And if you didn't want to cut out card, could of course draw more spirals along here to create the body. There's lots of different ways that you could adapt this idea. And then final bigger green spot or dot for the head. And then I'm just going to take a black pen that goes over the shiny paper to give it a face. Smile, of course. Some antenna. There we go. And then if you want to, you can, like I did, right underneath. Dotty snail. And there we go. And then go and see how many snails you can find in your garden today.
Well, thank you for joining the crafting crew again for another session called MINIBEAST Safari. We hope you enjoy using some of our ideas, and please do send anything that you've made, any photos, to our website. We'd love to see them. Our next session is called Up in the Air, so all things to do with being up in the sky. And the kind of things that you might find useful to collect, if you can, are lolly sticks, wooden pegs, those ones with the springs in them, paper clips, and then just the usual pens, paper, card, glue and scissors. So we hope that you can join us next time, and until then,